If I asked you who you thought was the strongest nation in HOI4's new DLC, and you answered Germany, you'd probably be just about right. However, I'm sure many of you would not say monarchist Germany. As such, the plan today is to just prove you wrong on that front. And of course, gotta start that with doing the Civil War. So let's go ahead and do the classic startup for Germany. Electromechanical engineering, machine tools, construction 1, and we're gonna come over here, we're gonna grab range improvements, have Heinkel research them, it doesn't really matter, they're just the fastest. Plot down a couple of mills in Westfalen and Hessen, so we can make the most out of the MIFO bills, because we won't be keeping them, so we'll use that 10% bonus as much as we can. Go ahead, slap down some extra mills on support and artillery. And we're just not even going to bother making these planes. We'll finish pumping out the boats that we're working on. Well, most of them anyway. Cancel these ones. And this will be our setup going into the Civil War. Get the army into a single army group, so we don't have to deal with that pop-up. Say hello to Karl Heinrich. Start working on the Flame Panzer. That'll get stopped once the Civil War breaks out, but it'll still get us some stuff to work with. We're not going to bother with trade. We're going to just get as deep into those mills constructed that we can while we have MIFO bills, because like I said, we won't be keeping them. Alright, loyalty to the Kriegsmarine, or of the Kriegsmarine. So this is new with the DLC, with going down the Rally the Wehrmacht path, if I'm not mistaken. So, we are going to secure their loyalty at any cost. We want to keep the Kriegsmarine, because we're going to go down, rebuild the High Seas Fleet anyway. Doing this focus will make sure the revolt doesn't happen, and we're going to take Weltpolitik and the second naval race pretty early for the war support that they give us. We're going to need that to be able to keep war going. And just like that, we are in the Civil War. Now, this is really no different than it was prior to the DLC's release. So we're just going to go ahead, we're going to set the army up, get our generals together, separate out our tanks, and put them under Manstein. Set them to the front line, you know the deal. Push across to get to the Czech border to cut off the south. Set up our frontline orders. And honestly, with Mackinson's bonuses, you can honestly just battle plan the front line here. Macro it if you wish. It'll take you a little bit longer, but more effective in the end. It's the wrong one there. Get the Air Force all together. Air superiority, CAS, Logi strikes, air supply, you know the deal. And then we're going to come to our focus tree, and we're going to take Rally the Nation as our next focus here. And then with the PP we're sitting on, now we're not going to bother with the MIFO Bill's architect role. He is a good advisor. We won't be keeping the MIFO bill, so it really is just a waste of the 75 PP. So what we're actually going to come in here and do is we are going to grab the State Secretary of the Colonies for that 5% PP. You can also go with the influential pastor here, which actually, you know, I'm gonna try that. We're gonna try to go with him. In my first run, I went with Adolf here, Adolf Frederick, but we're gonna go with Dietrich and see how that goes. Switch it up a little bit, but do that for the PP gain. So now we're making a little bit more PP, and well, you guys know the deal from here to win the Civil War. I hope. If you're watching this, I do hope. Alright, the communists have attempted to make a return to the country. We're just going to keep an eye on them, give us a little bit of extra non-aligned support. That'll help with our stability, as we are a non-aligned government. And would you look at that, we have the breakthrough near the Czech border, and we're just going to take the... they reinforced it. But once we break this division here, we're just going to go trucking all the way to the Czech border. You know the deal. And just like that, the encirclement of the southern front is complete, and now we're just going to have our tanks drive around and cap all of their VPs here, clean them up, knock out the few little supply lines they have in the south here, and slowly starve them out. Alright, we got the reformation of paramilitary wings. We're going to go ahead and take the top option for the non-aligned support, and it'll also give us some recruitable pop to work with for the duration of the Civil War, so we'll go ahead and take that. And then our next focus will be denazification campaigns. That'll get us a little bit more stability and some PP to work with. It'll also start reducing our fascism support even more, which this guy's already been working on a bit. And then once we have that, we'll start worrying about the economy over here. Alright, and with that focus finished, we'll go ahead and move on to prioritize economic growth. Now, this is the path that, in my opinion, makes this one of the strongest nation options in the game. So, obviously, you can go the 4-year plan and keep the MIFO bills and start working on that stuff, on dealing with that. But in my opinion, when you go monarchist, you don't really have the same expansion opportunities as the fascist path does. Going the MIFO bills route is just going to be really expensive, and I don't think it's really going to work. And for the long-term game you're playing anyway, since you spend like the first year and a half-ish, depending on how long it takes you just doing the Civil War, and then recovering from that, you might as well just go all in on the we're going to take a while. So while this will kill our stability, kill our non-aligned support a little bit, it will grant us a couple of civs, and it will remove the MIFO bills. Well, first we have to pay the MIFO bills off, and we also get recovering economy, but just wait and see. It looks like it's worse on the front end, but it'll be a lot better on the back end. It'll also give us an advisor that'll help reduce some of the consumer goods we'll be having to deal with once things even out a bit. Speaking of consumer goods, we're going to go war economy and lower our consumer goods just a bit more. That'll help us out here. So let's go ahead and finish the Civil War up, shall we? Okay, so the Civil War is not over yet, but this is why I went ahead and started working on the Flame Panzer. You see, when we captured it back, because we've taken the, the land warfare facility, that we kept our progress that we had on it, so we can just pick up right where we left off and get right back to work on it. And now that we're here, we might as well start the Siege of Berlin and get rid of this guy, Der Führer, as he's called now. Okay. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish the Civil War fast enough this time. And as such, we got the Fourth Silesian Uprising. So actually, I haven't seen this. It doesn't, however, look good for us. So... okay, so essentially just, it's Silesia Revolt. It's a part of the Civil War. Okay, that can be dealt with. Go ahead and take currency reforms now, though, since we don't have the MIFO bill payments anymore. Yeah, so... you know, when you're trying this yourself, don't do what I did and fail to win the Civil War fast enough. And then you won't have to deal with Silesia being independent over here. Which, do they have a focus trail under? No. Literally, as soon as I went to go do a cut, the Civil War ended. We got an actual peace deal because of Silesia, so this... yeah. Alright then, well... we'll take our country back, though, because they have no war score, so we have all the war score here, at least. Now, I wonder, are we going to get the event that deletes the army before we finish this, or is this still technically like a part of the Civil War in that manner? I guess we'll find out here in a second. Oh, and as always, when you get the Nazi leadership captured, take your pick. I've always been more of a fan of imprisoning them rather than hanging them, especially now it gives you PP. You lose the war support regardless, so you're essentially choosing between, do you want PP and the reduction in fascism, or sorry, the stability and the reduction in fascism, or do you want PP and an increase in fascism? That's basically the choice. Which, while the stability would be nice, yes, I'd much rather have the PP, because we are going to need it. Not to mention the gain in fascism is redundant at this point. We have enough ways of losing fascist support, so we will go ahead and imprison them. And then as for the future of the paramilitary rings, again, this is your choice. You can take the stability, or you can demobilize them and keep this spirit, but a modified version of it. So, you know, it's not as good, but it still is useful. I like to keep it, personally. Okay, Silesia has been dealt with, and with that, Germany has been completely reunified. And we have a few things that we need to deal with. So first of all, the economy needs to get demobilized. They're yelling about that. The Kriegsmarine's going to revolt in about 500 days if we don't deal with that. And there is growing public dissent so long as von Mackensen is leader of the army. So, we're going to finish up currency reforms here. We're going to finish this focus first. Then we're going to deal with these in order of increasing time left to deal with. So we'll deal with the public dissent first, then we'll deal with the economy and the Kriegsmarine, which going down to deal with the Kriegsmarine will fix the economy issues anyway, because that'll pump up our war support as we need it. And getting von Mackensen out of power will also help with stability issues, so that will in turn increase war support, and the situations will all kind of deal with themselves in a way. Okay, and after finishing Revive the Kaiserreich here, we are left with a choice. The Return of the Kaiser, where we get Wilhelm II, or a military dictatorship, where we get Wilhelm III as a figurehead. Now, this choice is up to you. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't really lock you out of one path or the other, bar these few focuses here. So, you know, if you want to prepare for the next naval blockade and do all for the front, go military dictatorship. You want to do the Imperial Science Initiative and get glorious mechanical machinations, you can go Return of the Kaiser. That's really up to you. As far as I know, that's all that changes there. And then obviously you get Wilhelm III rather than Wilhelm II as your leader, but that's up to you. I'm going to go with Wilhelm II though, because that's just my preference. Okay, so unfortunately we finished the focus and the Dutch have prevented the return of the Kaiser, which is interesting. We're not going to fight them over it. We could, but France is likely to come help them out. Though, granted, France knows political violence and disunity government, so I don't think they'd be able to put up much of a fight. And my army is still in training, so nor is my economy ready for a large-scale conflict with the French, who definitely still have a bigger army than me, despite the fact that their country will explode in response to the war. So we'll back down, and we'll take Wilhelm III. It won't really change much for us, but now that we don't have von Mackensen anymore, and this has been dealt with only about a week, a little over a week to spare, we're going to start working on fixing our economy and not having to demobilize. And that starts with VTuber, which will get us some more war support to work with. So, okay, so after recording that last part, made a mistake. I had to roll back the save a bit to the earlier part of the month, which meant I got to fire the Kaiser event again. And as such, we actually have Wilhelm II this time. I just went ahead and deployed the 10 troops I had in training green, and I guess that was enough to put the Dutch over the threshold. Also improve relations a little bit, which we're going to stop now. Figured since I had a chance to go back and make right, might as well go all the way with it and change history a little bit. So, but like I said, we're just going to go ahead and continue with the Weltpolitik down to rebuild the High Seas Fleet, which will hopefully give us enough war support that we don't have to demobilize the economy, and we'll get the Kriegsmarine on board. If not, we'll also send an attaché to Spain, and that should give us the last little bit we need. Okay, so unfortunately, world tension's a bit low, and I wasn't able to get the war support high enough to stay war economy, so we did have to drop back down to partial mob. Mostly, this is happening because Japan went ahist, and is communist at the moment, because I forgot to turn on historical AI. I also think Britain's about to explode their empire, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, won't we? Alas, from here, now that we've rebuilt the High Seas Fleet and have dealt with all the ticking time bombs that is non-hist Germany, we can go focus on fixing the economy. And to start that, we're going to revitalize the nation. Now, this will give us a civ construction bonus of 15% for about a year and a half. And we are going to make the most of that to build this economy up to be something that the rest of the world is not prepared for. Okay, so we have finished, revitalized the nation. We're now working on rebuilding the nation, which will help us with our consumer goods issue a little bit more. But most importantly, we have unlocked these decisions. So this goes ahead and gives you a 10% construction speed bonus in every state in that particular region of Germany. Now we're going to start with West Germany because that builds up in the Rhine, which is just where we're building at the moment. So we'll go ahead and spend the 50 PP, and in 30 days we'll get that bonus. And then we're going to start building civs in this entire area. And then from there, in fact, if we really wanted to, it gives us an infrastructure bonus as well. So if we really wanted to be even faster about it and more efficient, we could technically max out the infrastructure here first, which really won't take us that long because infrastructure is relatively cheap. Hey, me in the future here. Yeah, don't do that. It's not worth it. The amount of time taken to build up that infrastructure there just isn't worth the civs that you could be pumping out. The infrastructure's fine. It's good enough. There's some extra Autobahn focuses you can do that I didn't bother doing that will build up some more infrastructure in the country. So don't bother using that infrastructure bonus. Just build more civs. Right, it's 6,000 and we have a bonus for it. Oops, didn't mean to cue that. We have a bonus for it. So we're actually going to build some infrastructure here first. That'll make these constructions go by even faster. Then we will start going down this and actually fixing our recovering economy debuff. Okay, so quite a bit of time has passed since the last cut, though for you guys it's been only an instant. We've gone quite a ways through the industrial tree. Now, we can't continue until we get Excavation 3 and Advanced Machine Tools, which we are working on Advanced Machine Tools. They'll be done in 30 days. But we've gone ahead and got trade deal with Sweden, we've got a research slot, and we've done what we can as far as the industry is concerned. And with that, we can begin Realpolitik and start heading down, restoring the Brest-Litovsk borders, which will be especially easy since the Russians are a bit busy at the moment, and, well, on that note, so are the Poles. So, finishing up in Spain, the Carlist actually spawned, so helping them out hasn't exactly been easy by any means, but we are making it work, to say the least. So grab Brest-Litovsk, and then we will start working our way eastward. Alright, and now it is time to begin pressing for the Eastern Front. First things first, we shall demand Mimel off the Lithuanians, and hopefully we're going to send the entire army to their border that I've been building up here. But hopefully they're smart enough to realize that they will have no chance and that no one will come to their aid, and they'll just simply back down and hand it over to us, yes? And of course, if not, we shall crush them swiftly, without mercy. But I really would rather them not get involved, because we are actively winning in Spain. Though I say that as I'm watching the Spanish about to cut off the southern front. Because the... Oh, wow, Portuguese Civil War wasn't... Alright, yeah, wish we could do something about that. We can't actually send any more volunteers at the moment. But for Spain here, hopefully we can cut through to Madrid and help stabilize these lines, because the Carlists honestly do not have enough troops. Alright, luckily enough for us, the Lithuanians folded without a fight, and next up is to restore the Eastern Imperial possessions and hope the Poles are willing to hand their land over. What? Are we occupying? I guess the Corps didn't take over. It's like, wait, there shouldn't be anything we're occupying, but no, we're fine. So apparently we're out of convoy. Oh yeah, because we're shipping the entire army back across. This will be dealt with swiftly soon. Okay, so the spirit that was giving us that massive civ construction bonus has just run out. which means we are now just going to finish up the last few civs that we were working on, because we do still have the bonus from our company here, but we're going to finish those up, and then we're going to swap over to military construction and start working on strengthening up the army to a much greater standard. First thing that will come with that, of course, is this still active? Yeah, that's still active. Wonderful. First thing that will come with that is building up mills in the Rhineland, but also some dockyards. We're going to rebuild the High Seas Fleet. Okay, so it's been quite a while since you guys have last talked to me. Well, and again, it's been an instant for you. But Poland has just acquiesced to our next demands, which was for a bit more territory, of which I believe it will core in a second. It hasn't ticked over yet for that. And then quick update on Spain. It's still going on. The Carlists simply ran out of divisions. I have more troops in Spain at this point than the Carlists do. They're down to just 3 infantry divisions, and I can't send them more volunteers. So I've just been slowly pulling back, letting the communists walk in, surrounding them, killing them, and slowly just draining down their troop count until they just have no divs and we can just walk through all of Spain. And looking at the casualties for the Spanish Civil War, I think that's proof enough. Because this doesn't even include the Republicans and casualty counts. So I'm assuming around 200,000 of these are me. Maybe even more. But we're almost done. They're down to their last 2 divisions here that we're about to encircle and finish up with. And once we do that, it's simply just a matter of walking through the Spanish countryside. But the Poles, like I said, have given up. We're getting Lithuania in now. And then after that, we'll probably do this one. Grab Denmark real quick. I say grab Denmark. We'll grab that one state off of Denmark real quick. Before continuing on our crusade through the Baltic states. Because we still have some time to spare as the Russians are still doing their own thing over there. Also, I'd love to be able to get involved in all these other civil wars that are happening around the world. And put down some more fat. Unfortunately, world tension is only at 26%. Because all the countries that would normally be causing issues are busy. And I'm being relatively peaceful by comparison. But, I mean, I say that. We've generated the second most world tension, I think, so... But, we'll see how things go. Alright, so unfortunately, the Danish decided that they wanted to have a stick up their butts, and decided not to return the land. And unfortunately, they're guaranteed by Austria at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get Middle Europa up and running. And we're going to attempt to get Austria into the fold with the Austrian question. Hopefully they say yes, and then we can just go into Denmark. No one else will likely back up Denmark. So just, you know, pray and hope that it works out in our favor. As for Spain, they've been spamming out divisions for months now, but the war is starting to wind down. Yeah, they're back down to 1 to 5. They had like 15 again for a bit, so this is still going on despite it being 1940. So yeah, but Middle Europe is gonna form. We're gonna try to get Hungary in it. The Austrians are also in their own faction, which is even better for us if something were to go wrong. Okay, and about 2.5, 3 years later, the Spanish Civil War has been won, the Carlists are victorious, and we have an ally in Iberia now, hopefully. Definitely couldn't allow for the communists to win, though, there. Not with the Soviets and the British going communist, and the French as well, for that matter. And the Italians also attempting to go communist. Just could not allow for another communist nation to form in Europe, so... Luckily, don't have to worry about it now, though. Alright, and understandably, the Austrians have declined their annexation into the German Empire, and as such, they shall be forcefully brought into the fold along with the Danes. So we're actually just going to deck on the Danes, though, because I think that'll only be for last world tension. They're actually the same amount of world tension. But if we deck on the Danes, we get the Danes and Austria. If we deck on Austria, we spike world tension without guaranteeing both. So we're just going to deck on Denmark here. I do wonder if the Danish surrender event will fire. Yes, it did. Now, I do not believe accepting this is in our best interest, because we don't get the... Hungary just joined our faction as well, which means we get to slam into the Austrians from the rear. Wonderful. But I don't... Despite the stability hit... No, it's barely more than a speed bump. We're going all the way through. Probably slow the game down. Alright, let's do this. So, yeah, the the Hungarians walked right into the rear of the Austrian lines while we're pinning the rest of their army. And then as for the Danes, we're going to be beating our head against their fort line for a while, but in due time. It's a matter of when, not if. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm not really ready for war yet. So I don't really have too many tanks or any CAS, for that matter. Speaking of which, I think they have CAS up over me. Yeah, they do. We can at least shoot that down. I've been building fighters just for some anti-CAS. Anti-CAS. Is that what we're calling fighters now? Anti-CAS? I mean, I guess in a way that's basically just all they are. Though I do believe, yeah, Denmark joined their faction, which means we just technically need to kill Austria. We don't actually need to kill Denmark, which is better for us. Yeah, unfortunate that we had to do this war. I really didn't want to have to, but such is the life of playing with historical off. And as you can see, I've even got me a few facilities up and running. And we're working on a few different projects, but you guys will see that later. Exactly what we're planning to do with those. Surely nothing too war crimey, I hope. As it turns out, marching through the Alps is bloody hard with the complete and utter lack of supply, because of how far away our supply lines are having to come from. We finally took Salzburg not too long ago, and that helped out quite a bit. But we can't even use the Hungarian supplies, as it's coming all the way from Budapest and just can't reach. Which means we just don't have the supplies to take Vienna, but there it goes. It's over. And since the Hungarians basically did nothing, we don't even have to hand over Burgenland to them. We can just full-on annex the Österreich and get all of our core territory. And then obviously we're going to annex our cores off of Denmark. I don't think they have any more territory really considered core. Nope. So go ahead and annex those, and then we will puppet the rest of Denmark. And on the next turn, we will take the Danish Navy. And just like that, Middle Europa expands a bit more. And next up is the Czechs. They're next on the chopping block. So we will see how that goes. And then from the Czechs will be the, I want to say the Poles. Yeah, incorporating the Polish Rump State is next after that. And again, we still have a little bit of time to spare. The Soviets are... what are the Soviets doing? They're done in their civil war. They're fighting the French, apparently. The French are also fighting the Estonia-Finland League, who's fighting Sweden. So we might actually go and help them out with that war. Actually, subdue the Baltics first, and then go after Czechoslovakia. We'll see. Actually, yeah, no. There is no we'll see. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. We'll secure Czechoslovakia. Before we secure Poland, though, we're going to get the rest of the Baltic states and get involved in the war with Estonia, Finland. And just like that, Czechoslovakia has been incorporated into the German Empire. Now, whether or not I keep this territory is debatable. Might release it as a puppet state. I might end up doing that. We will see. Simply due to the manpower issues, because, yeah, none of my faction members are willing to give me any manpower. And this isn't core territory, so But we will see. Like, I also had the chance to annex Lithuania, and I decided to go with puppeting them. Same with Denmark. So I think it would make sense for me to release Bohemia. But, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so as soon as we finished up the war against Estonia, we're currently in the middle of an invasion of Poland as well, but we literally just finished the peace deal over Estonia. Finland's back on the map, and the Soviets declare on it. um, my eye, that's all I have to say to that. Luckily, I have an army over here that we can go quickly throw on the thought I clicked the front of the button. That we can quickly throw on the border. But let's just say I was not really ready for a ground war with the Russians, to say the least. As you may or may not be able to tell. I'll pull one of the armies off of Poland to come cover over here. We have the French as friends, but no idea how much help they'll actually end up being. We do also get Sweden and Portugal into the faction. Portugal was invading Spain while I was busy. Wasn't really in a position to send volunteers because I've been constantly at war, so... And then they asked to join the faction, and I was just like, you know what? It's not that bad after all. So now we're allied with them, but we're gonna finish up Poland, I think. There's still no factions having formed over here. Hopefully the Soviets don't just, like, join the British or something. But we're now on the defensive against Russia, so hopefully we're ready for this one. Okay, so unfortunately, the game keeps crashing, which isn't surprising. This update has been pretty unstable. But here's the current state of things. The British just were joining the war. Hungary declares war on Romania over Transylvania. Romania joins the British faction. Russia joins the British faction. Britain apparently had a naval invasion set up for France, like day one. So they had started invading France. But I unpaused, the game crashes. I unpaused, the game crashes. So I don't know what it is. Frankly, I don't really know what to do about it. So here's the state of things, though. Middle Europa controls most of Europe at this point. Didn't really get to do everything I wanted to do this game. Mostly because I left historical AI off like an idiot. But I can blame that one on myself. But if we go into like my little practice run here, you can see a little bit better how this should be turning out for you. Which, yeah, here we go. Boom. 370 factories. It's 1941. Got Austria, Bohemia, Poland. The Russians actually beat me to the Baltics in this timeline because they didn't have a civil war to delay them. The Danish handed over their territory, and we're preparing to invade Italy. Wilhelm II's dead. They gave us Wilhelm II, but Wilhelm II's dead. But yeah, this is a bit more accurate to what your economy should be looking like. Again, went wrong in a couple places because of historical AI being off, threw me off my game just a tad bit. Like the Danes saying no, the Austrians saying no, and a few other things that could have gone better. Also, we have a much chunkier Hungary in this timeline. But as you can see, I more or less did the same thing. Brest-Litovsk, went down here, did the Berlin Awards and everything. Wasn't able to go this far, obviously, because Russia decided to kill Italy first. Hadn't even finished these focuses here yet, but alas, as you can see, Germany's pretty powerful now, especially down the monarchist path. It's a lot more viable than it was prior to the update. As you can see, the biggest issue would always be your economy. As you can see, my economy's doing just fine with minimal expansion. Literally just Austria, Bohemia, took like half of Poland off, which again, all this is cores, and then Denmark, the little chunk there. But yeah, unfortunately, the game keeps crashing, so can't finish it out. But Russia's going to die soon, and then it's a matter of taking on the UK, which, if I load back into that save real quick. As far as taking down the UK is concerned, I think we can get air and naval supremacy. Well, maybe not air, but I think we can get naval supremacy with the fleet I've built. About 200 ships with like, oh, the first battleship actually finished. Hadn't even realized that that had been deployed, but I think I've built a solid fleet that can compete with the British in smaller engagements. Obviously, this is a multiplayer game. No chance this fleet wins, because a player would obviously stack their whole fleet together. But in single player, yeah, having a fleet half the size of your enemy is more than effective. And that's what we got. We're not that far behind on air. We're ramping up air production now, fighter 2s, but unfortunately just can't run the game at this point. It's already been slogging for a while. I've been recording for a few hours at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. Go ahead, down below, hit the subscribe button. Go check out my Twitch. We'll be playing some multiplayer games live once multiplayer is actually working. Did my factory count just drop by 60? Did I just see that in real time? The heck? Oh wait, no, I'm in the safe. I'm dumb. Shut up. I'm dumb. Anyway, that's all I have for you everyone today. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.